the pieces I'm struggling with the most are just in the reading comp itself. Specifically, I think I'm still struggling on just understanding how to, not understanding it, but just getting down a lot of the skeleton of it. So when I'm originally reading through the passage itself, I still just struggle on breaking out paragraphs themselves and looking at how to make those, I guess, just how to get the most out of it and how to make it the most effective to move into the questions.
Got it, for sure. So getting accurate understanding and summaries of the passage paragraphs in particular before you go into the questions.
Correct. Yep.
Okay. And tell me for context your current score, your goal score when you're taking it.
Yep. No, definitely. So current score, I got a 148 and then looking to get into the mid 160s. So
Okay, so
165 to 168-ish.
all right, so roughly a 20-point increase or so, and then your target test date?
November.
November. So we got about a month and a half to improve 20 points. It is a lot, but is reading comp like your number one area right now? Are you feeling pretty good on LR?
Yep, feeling pretty good on LR, and that has been what I've noticed, especially in the reading comp area. I would say if I was or in the logic reasoning area itself, if I'm just doing that and you eliminated um reading comp, I would be pretty close to that mark
Cool.
right now. So it is really the reading comp that's
Okay.
bugging me.
Good to know. Are there specific topics in reading comp? If we have the four major buckets, natural science, social science, humanities, law, any of those in particular?
Yeah, I would say I have actually gotten caught up on the law and then humanities side probably the most, just from the density of it itself. I find myself, not that I struggle getting through the passage, but then I jump back and forth a lot between the questions and passage, which then just kills my time.
Gotcha. Okay, so you have to go back a lot to the text, and you find that law and humanities in particular give you more trouble?
Yeah, some of the verbiage in the actual passage itself, I'll probably misinterpret a sentence throughout it and then be like, oh, now I have to go back and feel like I have to reread the whole thing to really understand it.
Gotcha. Okay. Have you ever tried breaking down individual passages like as an exercise, just taking a passage and then rewriting the entire thing in simpler language, like paraphrasing it?
I have not yet. I've just drilled the actual passages themselves and done untimed and tried to break it down as much as I can. And then moving into the questions, I've never just taken a passage and then moved back.
So my thought is, like, let's say, for example, you take an older passage from Law Hub, one that you're not going to do in a timed context,
Mhm.
and you split your screen. Like you take your internet browser, you take one half of the browser to just look at the passage,
Mhm.
and take the other half of the browser to open up a Google Doc, and then just paraphrase it or summarize it, putting it in your own words.
Okay.
So like a side by side. My goal here, or you could also just use a physical notebook if you want to write by hand.
Mhm.
But my goal here for you is to practice distilling the information from the passage in your
Okay.
own words to prove to yourself that you truly understand it.
Okay. And I guess so. Question on that then: when doing that, is that basically rewriting the entire passage, or still try to do it in condensed form, where you're just trying to get the reasoning out of it?
So this would be an exercise, like a drill,
Yeah.
where my goal for you is just to rewrite the entire thing.
Okay.
I'm not
Gotcha.
saying do this a ton. I'm not saying do this for weeks and weeks, but maybe do this
Mhm.
for a half dozen passages.
Okay.
That's one idea I have for you to focus specifically on law and humanities. My
Mhm.
second thought is to get you out of the weeds of the details and just extract the main idea or
Mhm.
primary purpose, author's opinion, things of that nature that are global in nature. So,
Okay.
could you then take some other old passages and just read the passage and summarize in your own words what is the main idea, the central point? If they could leave you with only one thought, what would that be?
Okay. No, that makes sense.
And then with these skeletons that we've talked about, could you read a passage and note where the details are so that you can go back and find them when you need to help you solve specific questions?
Okay. Yeah, no, that helps too, and I think that's what I've been trying to do, and then I think I definitely just need more practice with it because then I end up just jumping back and forth anyways because then I'll look at it, and then it might be a trust thing too because then I'll look at my kind of summary or skeleton of it and then be like, "Well, is that really what it was saying?" And then jump back into the passage anyways, and then yeah. So I just think it's learning to trust myself that I am taking the knowledge that I'm getting from the actual passage and then moving forward with it.
Yeah, I think that's right. I think you've got to trust your initial read of it.
Mhm.
But secondly, I wouldn't want you to take so many notes that you don't feel comfortable going back.
Yep.
Because
No, that makes sense.
taking notes also takes time.
Mhm.
And if you can at least just have some muscle memory to know, okay, well, the details are at this particular part of the passage. I'll just zoom right back to that specific point, capture the phrase that I need to support a given choice.
Okay. No, that makes sense too. And then one other question around that too, I think is because there is a different mindset between LR and RC itself, and when you're going through them. And I guess do you have any tips on how to like kind of break from going from like a logic reasoning section in a test to then switching to like a RC question or just RC section?
Well, they're more similar than they are different. I mean, my first thought is that a reading comp passage is just like a really big logical reasoning stimulus.
Mhm. Okay.
The difference is that you just have potentially more viewpoints.
Joints. Yep.
So in
No, that
logical
makes sense.
reasoning, it's one argument, one major conclusion. In logical
No,
reason, in
that's
reading
it.
comp, you have maybe a couple of different parties with different positions.
Yeah. No, that makes sense. Okay.
There is a
Those.
small there's a small distinction though between the two that I think is worth calling out. The similarities are bigger though, but the one caveat to that is that in logical reasoning, an inference, like must be true,
Mhm.
is 100% guaranteed based on the argument.
Yeah.
It must be true questions in logical reasoning. But
Yeah.
in reading comprehension, when they say inference, they're more thinking about like a most strongly supported,
Mhm.
like what is incredibly likely to be the case
Mhm.
based on the passage, but not necessarily 100% guaranteed.
Yeah.
There is always support in the text. There is always a specific line supporting a given choice, but their definition of inference is looser in reading comp than in logical reasoning.
Okay. No, that definitely makes sense. So I guess then looking at it moving forward, a good kind of practice strategy then is to kind of maybe go out, break down 5 to 6 passages in my own text, basically just try to rewrite the whole passage, then move forward and prove to myself essentially that I am taking what the passage is actually saying, and then move forward and then go back, break down the skeleton, and then just work on the overall.
Exactly. Yeah. So
Yep.
I have two or three different ideas for you. The first is as an exercise, you take the old passages, law and humanities, since those are your topics of struggle. You
Mhm.
rewrite the entire thing, explain like I'm five style, just dumb it down, simplify it. Secondly, you look at old passages, but instead of rewriting the entire thing, you pre-phrase or predict only the main idea and then solve just the main idea global questions associated.
Okay.
And then third, with your skeletons, don't write a ton in your notes or scratch paper. Keep it very minimal and just look at where the details are in the passage so that you can go back and find them when you need to. It's okay to go back if you can go back quickly and targeted.
Yep. Okay, no, I like that. That does sound almost exactly what I need to do because I think that's where it'll come down because it is like some passages all, and I'm sure this is the same for everyone. You'll just passage will just all the dots will connect and you'll be able to fight through it. But then other ones, it's you don't even know where to begin, and then it just the entire section just falls apart.
Exactly. We all have our own
Mhm.
areas of topics that we like or dislike. One more thought I
Yep.
have for you is if you can really like just immerse yourself in the law and humanities in particular, as
Mhm.
those passages where like you if there are some that I mean, there's 58 numbered exams. There's roughly 400 released passages. You're not going to get to all of them in this limited time. So you can afford to take some of the oldest ones and just read them. Like
Yep.
whatever more pleasurable thing you were going to read or watch, just read this instead and fill your time with just reading passage after passage and actually understanding it.
Okay. No, that's also a good idea. Yeah, and just get familiar with how they actually write and
Yeah,
how
how
to
they write
follow
and
it. Yep.
how they write. Can you understand it? Can you get the main point? Can you see how they start going this way, but actually they pivot and go that other way instead?
Definitely.
There's a limited number of patterns that they use, but and the more you can expose yourself to them, the more that you can develop comfort so that when you see a new one on test day, you have the muscle memory having seen many others like it before.
Definitely. And then I guess some test day strategies and stuff, because I haven't dove too deep into that. But when you get there, would you like, is there a recommendation on how to do reading comp itself? Like, say, because obviously the number of questions on them vary. So should you try to knock out the numbers first? So you just kind of run down the line and start 1 through 4 and kind of disregard it, or if like come across the humanities one, either kind of do the more challenging one first and try to get through humanities, or if one comes up about science and it makes sense, do that and skip humanities, I guess. Is there any recommendation around that?
Yeah, good question. So I'm generally in favor of just doing the questions in the order given, the passages in the order given, because it takes time to decide.
Okay.
But if you see a humanities passage and you can quickly ID it and you don't want to deal with it, I would then save it for last so that
Okay.
you can build up your momentum and lock down the easier points. I never recommend doing the hardest thing first. Always do the hardest
Hmm.
thing last because you don't want to get bogged down in the hard and never get to the easy. And you also don't want to kill your morale and momentum getting stuck
Yep.
on the hard. So,
Hmm.
whatever is easier for you, do those first
Okay.
and then save humanities for last. But if you encounter humanities and like, you know what, this isn't so bad, or it takes you too long to recognize that it's humanities, because sometimes they'll
Hmm.
try to trick you. Like they'll have like the theory of science, which is actually not science; it's a lot more theory, right? So
Hmm.
they have ways that they trick you with that sort of thing.
Yep.
But if you recognize it, then of course, if you want to do it later, I think that's okay.
Okay. No, definitely. Just because it is one of those things where it's, and I mean, in one of my practice tests, I didn't intentionally do it, but I quickly learned that it's really hard to flag a question, then try to come back at like you can't
Mhm.
really do that in RC at all.
No, in RC, it's not worth it because you lose the context.
Hmm.
In logical reasoning, it's a different story, but
Yeah.
in reading up, I would always try to tackle the questions while you're still within that set. And if you
Hmm.
want to, if let's say passage one has questions 1 through 7 associated, if you want to skip number 3, then do the rest, go to number 7 and come back to number 3. That's okay. But I wouldn't jump to passage 2 and do number 14, then come back to number 3.
Definitely. No, that makes complete sense.
Okay, cool. Anything
Mhm.
else?
Yep. No, I think that answered all my questions. So thanks.
Awesome, Carter. It's a pleasure. Keep me posted on how things unfold.
Yep. Sounds great. Thanks, Steve.
Yeah, for sure, man.